I will start by introducing myself. My name is Ernest Nakenya Nadome. I'm the chairman of the DC scheme. And thank you for wishing me a happy birthday. But we are all at the tail end. When I see James Odongo here as a pensioner, he starts sending shivers amongst us that we are also on our way. And Mwalili also telling me he'll also be exiting in October. Okay, let me start off. I'm going to be pretty fast. Why I will have to be very fast is because quite a number of areas have already been captured or covered by other service providers and even by our RBA representatives. So I hope you won't mind some of the bits I will have to skip. Members and stakeholders, I welcome you all to KenGen Defined Contribution DC scheme for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, allow me to convey my gratitude to you who have taken the time to join us both physically and virtually to ensure that this AGM is a success. Let's clap for those who are virtual, please. We have a whopping almost 1,000 members who are on virtual. So that tells us our guys are tech savvy. I'm glad to announce that during the year, we had new members who joined the scheme, thus our membership increased significantly. We welcome you all into our DC scheme family. On the quorum, may I now ask the TS to advise if we have a requisite quorum to conduct the business, this business AGM.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to confirm we have 618 members currently joining online. 385 joining physically, bring the total attendance to 1,003. I wish to confirm we are well collated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, TS. On the rules of the meeting is the same. It applies the way we did it in the previous DB board, where there will be Q&A, physical, and also those who are on the chat mode will also do the same. We will also be having the poll questions, so please make sure you participate. There will also be questionnaires that will be circulated at the tables. Please fill them. I'm told some are located at the entrance of the venue. As you saw during the DB, we have ushers, so they will continue assisting you. So we start off with the first poll question. TS?
Thank you, Chair. We start with the first poll question for the DC scheme, and I'll read as it is. The scheme invests in various assets to ensure that the members get returns on their benefits. Which asset has the scheme invested into? Which of the following assets has the scheme invested into? These are multiple answers, so you can select more than one. 1, government security. 2, steamer circle. 3, private equity. 4, cryptocurrency. 5, offshore. 6, precious metals and minerals like gold. 7, immovable asset, e.g. properties. I'll repeat the question. The scheme invested in various assets to ensure that the members get returns on their benefits. Which of the following assets does the scheme invest to? 1, government security. 2, steamer circle. 3, private equities. Cryptocurrency, offshore investment, precious metals and minerals, and immovable asset, e.g. property. You can project the results. Thank you, Chair. Confirmation that our members understand our investment. 77% knows that we have invested in government securities. 27% think we have investment in steamer circle. I wish to confirm we have no investment in steamer circle. 32% think no, we have invested in private equity. I would wish to confirm we have a private equity investment. One member think we have cryptocurrency. I wish to confirm no. Offshore investment, here we have some offshore investment. There are 2 members who think we have invested in precious metals and minerals. I would wish to confirm we have no investment in precious metals and minerals. And the last one, immovable properties, 38% of members confirm that. So it's a confirmation that our members understand our investments very well, but also a clarification required to be given more and more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, TS. Clarification and a bit of education. As you rightly said, we don't invest in Stima Sacco, but that's also a plus for Stima Sacco. Our treasurer is here, Mary Malu is keenly listening and smiling. Now, members, to ensure that our vision of providing best in class service to you, our esteemed members, I do not work alone, but with a team of trustees who have committed themselves to ensure that this vision is a reality. Kindly allow me to introduce them to you, and I'll start straight away. On my left, we have Charles Masio. Karibu, just stand and wave. I'm sure that is known to you. Yeah, he was through an electioneering period the other day, a tough one. Tumpigie makofi tena for winning your confidence. Next is huyo ni mgeni, that is Dr. Rosemary Wanyoike. Tumpigie makofi. She's a sponsor-nominated trustee. I'll talk more about her later. And then one of our own, who was also in DB, that is Austin Ouko. Thank you, Austin. TS, just a race, he remains the TS, also in this scheme. And then next is Trustee Mary Malu, who is sponsor appointed trustee. Next to Mary, we have Abdi Mohammed, who is member elected trustee. Huyo mwingine next ni Daniel Nzioka, sponsor nominated trustee. And then lastly, one of your own, when we were sleeping in hotels yesterday, he came from his house, that is Engineer Saria Onsoti from here. Asante, engineer. Now, today we also, having introduced them, we also wish to bid farewell to our retiring trustee, that is Winnie Pertet. Unfortunately, she didn't join us, who was a sponsor appointed. Through our wisdom and guidance, she not only contributed to the financial prosperity of our organization, but has also been instrumental in nurturing a culture of innovation, collaboration, and inclusivity. She set high standards of integrity and ethical conduct, inspiring everyone within our organizations to strive for excellence. We do extend our deepest gratitude for our dedicated service and wish her well in the future endeavors. Once again, let us appreciate her. Mpige makofi. On new trustees, as we bid kwaheri, we embark on a new chapter with our incoming trustee, who brings with her a wealth of knowledge, expertise, and fresh perspectives. May I now take this opportunity to introduce the trustee who joined the scheme, the sponsor nominated trustee who joined the scheme during the year 2024. She is Dr. Rosemary Wanyoike. Dr. Rosemary Wanyoike was appointed to the Board of Trustees as a sponsor nominated trustee. She holds a PhD in Human Resource Management from Kenyatta University, a Master of Science in Human Resource Management from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, and a Bachelor of Science in International Business Administration with a concentration in management from USIU. Dr. Rosemary Wanyoike is a human capital specialist with vast knowledge and experience in human resource and business management. Top of her achievements includes the initial setup, recruitment, and nurturing of human resource management in the School of Business at Kenyatta University. She successfully formulated and implemented HR policies, procedures, and practices for the department, and has published journals on organization transformation, performance, workforce diversity, and employee performance. She is currently the chairperson and lecturer of Human Resource Management Department at Kenyatta University and a committee member of Manpower Development. Dr. Wanyoike is also serving as a president-elect for the Ruiru Rotary Club. She is a member of the Institute of Human Resource Management and Institute of University Training Committee, academic advisor, student mentor, and board member at Naivasha Girls Secondary School. Maybe if people are not keen on you, and I know they will now want to see who is this. Trustee simama ndio wakuone. Tumpigie makofi tena. Asante. Yeah, thank you very much. You will agree with me, she will add a value to this DC scheme. Now we'll move to the second poll. TS, very fast.
Thank you, Chair. I will do it fast. This is brief. And I'll take you through the question, members. How important is it to you that the scheme invest in the environmental, social, and governance framework in its investment agenda? That is the ESG investment framework. How important is it to you that the scheme investment in the environmental, social, governance framework that is in the investment agenda? Very important, important, not important. I don't know what the ESG or environmental, social, governance framework is. The question answers very important, not important, important. I do not know what ESG means. You can shoot the results. Interesting and something very encouraging. Members would want the scheme also to focus its investment on ESG, very important. That is 47 of the members who have participated. Important, which is part of the very important, which is 30%. Not important, 7%, which is 10 members. And some members also don't have a clear understanding of ESG investment. That is 16%. Chair, this also guides us as we develop even our IPS document. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, TS. Yeah, you will let's focus also on that 16%. Members, just like DB, we also have service providers who assist us. And I will go straight away. We had the ARBA representative. I don't need to introduce David again. Let me go straight away to Homig. We have John Kiara. Tumpigie makofi. And then ICL Lion, we have Esther Muchai, Miss Esther Muchai, please, thank you. Custodian, we still have Eva with us. And then auditor, Deloitte and Tut, that is Eunice Moura. Tumpigie makofi. TS, you can now read the notice convening this particular AGM, the 2024 AGM.
Thank you, Chair. I will take members through the notice convening this meeting. And I will read it as it is on page number 4 of the financial statement which has been given to you. Notice is given that the annual general meeting of the KenGen Defined Contribution Schemes, popularly known as the DC scheme, will be held at the Geothermal Plaza Ground, Olokaria, on today, Friday, 20th June 2024. The meeting was expected to start from 11 a.m. The agenda for the meetings are read as they are: to read the notice convening the meeting, to receive chairman's report, to receive fund manager's report, to receive custodian report, to receive the scheme's audited financial statement for the period ended 31st December 2023, together with the auditor's report thereon, to receive LBA remarks, preliminary session, and to receive any bid which advance notice has been received, and the closing remarks. Chair, this is a hybrid meetings where members from Geothermal and pensioners from Allowed have joined physically, where the rest of the members are joining virtually via Zoom. This notice was issued by the order of the board on 7th of June 2024, signed by myself, Josephat Murik, the CEO and the Trust Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, TS. I will now read my report. I'm pleased to present KenGen DC Scheme 11th Annual Report and the first full year for the Income Drawdown Fund asset, the sub-fund of the main scheme for the financial year ended 2023. Despite the challenges presented by the dynamic economic landscape I'm proud to report that both funds remain resilient and steadfast in fulfilling mandate of providing secure retirement benefits to our valued members. Throughout the year 2023, our focus has been on preserving and enhancing the long-term sustainability of the scheme and robust governance framework coupled with the prudent investment strategies has enabled us to navigate market uncertainties while delivering favorable outcomes for our members. In line with this commitment to transparency and accountability, I am pleased to highlight the key achievements which is contained within this report. On economic performance and outlook, the economy demonstrated resilience, expanding by 5.9% in the third quarter of 2023 compared to 4.3% recorded in the previous year. However, the business landscape experienced deterioration as the Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, dropped below the 50% target mark. The economy is, however, expected to maintain moderate growth driven by continued recovery in agriculture and resilience in the service sector, although with unpredictable weather and physical constraints that are likely to affect growth. Additionally, Kenya shillings weakened further against the US dollar by 5.6% quarter on quarter and by 26.8% year on year to close at 156.5. This decline was attributed to negative net capital flows on foreign currency, debt service with the shilling expected to continue weakening, albeit gradually due to higher import costs, increased debt service, a tighter global interest rate cycle, potentially lower export receipts due to reduced external demand, and geopolitical factors which could trigger further capital outflows. The overall annual inflation averaged 6.8% in quarter 4 of 2023, a slight decrease from 6.9% in the previous quarter, where overall inflation in 2023 averaged 7.7% compared to 7.6% in 2022. The marginal decline in the last quarter of the year was mainly influenced by a drop in food inflation, with the food index decreasing from 8% in quarter 3 to 7.7% in quarter 4 of 2023 due to lower prices of seasonal foods. We anticipate that inflationary pressures may persist in 2024 due to a weaker currency, elevated import costs, the reduction of government subsidies, rising taxes, and unpredictable weather patterns. Nevertheless, the base effects will contribute to lower inflation numbers in the short term. The yield curve experienced an upward movement in the fourth quarter of 2023, resulting in a total increase of 2 basis points, quarter on quarter, 2.6 year on year, driven by a rise in domestic borrowings. The short end of the yield curve, bonds below 5 years, rose by 0.3 on quarter on quarter. The midsection, these are 10 years between 5 and 12 years, increased by 3 basis points. Interest rates are expected to remain elevated due to monetary policy tightening, aggressive domestic borrowing by government, and tight liquidity in the markets. The fiscal outlook remains challenging, and coupled with high external interest rates, it implies increased domestic funding by the government compared to foreign funding. During the fourth quarter of the year 2023, the stock market continued its decline, albeit at a decelerated pace, as all indices closed in the red. Quarter on quarter, the NSE, or rather the NASI, recorded a 3.3 decline. NSE 25 index lost 3.8% and NSE 20 index lost 0.5%. This downturn is attributed to existing macroeconomic challenges that have significantly impacted the equities market, resulting in foreign outflows. Primarily, the dollar repatriation issues and the depreciation of the currency led to a negative sentiment in the local stock market. We, however, expect stock market activity to remain subdued in the first half of the year, despite attractive valuations and moderate earnings growth, with further currency weakness and high fixed income yields will likely continue to dampen recovery. On strong governance, our governance practices are guided by the principles of transparency, accountability, and integrity, where we have established a clear governance policies and procedures that govern board operations, including committee charters, code of conduct, and conflict of interest policies. These practices promote accountability, mitigate conflicts, and uphold the highest ethical standards. The evolution of our board composition reflects our ongoing commitment to governance excellence, diversity, and succession planning. As we welcome the new trustees, Dr. Rosemary Wanyoike, Mr. Daniel Nzioka, and Mr. Mohammed, and bid farewell to retiring members, Ms. Winnie Pertret and Mr. Peter Mutemi, we remain steadfast in our dedication to upholding the highest standards of corporate governance and stewardship. The collective wisdom, experience, and dedication of our board members continue to be instrumental in guiding the pension scheme towards a prosperous and sustainable future. On risk management, as stewards of our members' retirement futures, risk oversight and management are central to our governance responsibilities. Our board remains vigilant in identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks that could impact the financial health and sustainability of the fund. Through active engagement with management, independent assessments, and regular reviews of our risk management processes, we ensure that the fund is well prepared to navigate challenges and capitalize on opportunities in an increasingly complex and dynamic environment. Our commitment to prudent risk management underscores our dedication to delivering sustainable value and security for our members, both now and in the future. On stakeholders management, stakeholders engagement is at the core of our governance philosophy, reflecting our belief in the power of collaboration and dialogue to drive positive outcomes. We actively engage with our stakeholders to share information, obtain feedback, and build trust through transparent and open communication channels. By fostering a culture of inclusivity, responsiveness, and accountability, we strengthen our relationship with members, sponsor, regulator, and the wider community. Our commitment to stakeholders' engagement and transparency is fundamental to building trust, enhancing credibility, and delivering sustainable value for all. On pension industry changes on legislation, and I think this has been covered very well by RBA representative. The pension industry has experienced phenomenal growth over the years, both in value of retirement benefits, assets under management, currently standing at 1.73 trillion, and the supporting legislative framework. During the year, the CS, National Treasury, and Economic Planning amended legal notice number 18 of 2024 that requires valuation of the schemes debt instrument to now provide, one, the value of debt instrument held to maturity must now be reported at amortized cost. The fair value method shall be used in determining the value of both instruments available for sale and equities. Furthermore, legal notices number 19, 2021, and 22 of 2024 have extended their impact to various regulations governing the determination of net interest to be declared and credited to members. As per these amendments, net returns declared and credited to members' accounts will now exclude unrealized gains and losses arising from changes in the value of debt instruments, that is, bonds held by the scheme at the end of the financial year. What is the effect? The fund is likely to hold bonds to maturity, this was explained, due to its long-term investment horizon, which will receive full repayment of the principal amount. This will impact on scheme performance by ensuring stable returns on accrual of coupon and interest without reporting capital losses, which will occur if reporting on mark-to-market basis. Investment overview and performance. Our investment performance continues to demonstrate resilience and strength amidst the challenging market condition. Despite heightened volatility and macroeconomic headwinds, I am pleased to report that our investment portfolio delivered favorable returns over the past year, driven by prudent asset allocation, diversified strategies, and rigorous risk management practices. While we remain vigilant to emerging risks and uncertainties, we are confident in the robustness of our investment approach and our team expertise. With a focus on generating sustainable long-term value for our members, we remain committed to delivering competitive investment performance while preserving the integrity and security of our pension scheme. The board has intensified schemes diversification strategy over the years through investing into 4 Pan-African private equity funds, real estate investments, offshore mutual funds, and during the current year, ventured into REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust. The current allocation alternatives grew to 23% from 20% in the previous year. The alternative investment provide the scheme with potential high returns while managing risks as we continue to hold exposure in traditional assets such as government securities, money markets, and listed local equities. During the year, the investment portfolio endured volatile markets coupled with inflation risk factors such as a rapid rise in interest rates, persistent currency volatility, which despite this, both of our funds remain resilient to positive year-on-year growth in value of assets to close at 10.69 billion for the main fund and IDD at 340 million. And to credit the members' account with a return of 4% in the main fund. Our goal is to ensure our returns beat inflation, and we continue to position the asset mix coupled with rebalancing strategies to recover from periods of such bumpy investment environment. Our sub-fund, that is the IDD, which is barely 2 years, was launched at an all-time high interest rate environment, and hence it enjoys a fixed income portfolio of all high-yielding instruments, enabling us to post to the members' account a return of 13.78 for the year 2023. We wonder when some of our members got to purchase annuity. If you are able to get 3.78, surely, why should you go out? So those who are retiring, Mwalilis and the rest, come to us, we'll explain to you the benefit of IDD. I'm not going to those insurance firms outside there. Now, perspective of the scheme's future as I conclude. As we conclude another year, let us reaffirm our shared commitment to excellence, integrity, and stewardship. Together, we will continue to uphold the highest standards of governance, transparency, and accountability, ensuring that the scheme remains a trusted guardian of our members' retirement benefits. I extend my sincere gratitude to you members, colleagues in the board, secretariat team, and all professional advisors who are here with us for your dedication and contribution to the success of the scheme. Thank you very much. That ends my chairman's report. We'll make sure next time we summarize it so that it doesn't take that long. Tears. Okay, you're taking note of that. Let's now go to the third poll.
Thank you, Chair. We go to the third poll, asking the ICT team to project it. The scheme carried out the member representative trustees election in April 2024. In your opinion, how effective and efficient was the election process? The scheme carried out the members' representative election in April 2024. In your opinion, how effective and efficient was the election process? 1, very effective and efficient. 2, effective and efficient. 3, not effective and efficient. The last one, I did not participate in the election. I'll repeat the question again. The scheme carried out members' representative trustees election in April 2024. In your opinion, how effective and efficient was the election process? This is a single answer question. Very efficient and effective, efficient and effective, not effective and efficient. I did not participate in the election. Can I project the results? Chair, members indicated there, 44% of the members, it was very effective and efficient. 51% of the members, efficient and effective. 4% not effective and efficient, and 2 members did not participate. Confirmation of well-improved election process, and also opportunity even to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, members, for the feedback. Now it is the turn of service providers. I'll call Esther of ICA Lion, and then after that, Eva. And kindly just go straight away to the portfolio. I think the other bit was already done, what you guys do. So that will save us time. Welcome. Tumpigie makofi Esther akiingia.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Members, good afternoon, and the Board of Trustees and my fellow service providers. My name is Esther Mushai from ICA Lion Asset Management. Allow me to go straight into my presentation, and I know a lot has been covered. I'll just give very quickly my views on the macros, very quickly in terms of impact, before we look at the numbers so that we are able to appreciate the numbers. So if you can, the role of the fund manager was well articulated. And I think on that slide, the only thing I'll mention is that we ensure that we are also big on compliance. We help the trustees to ensure that we remain within the investment policy guidelines, as well as the RBA limits as well. So just go straight into the economic overview. So when we look at offshore equity markets, last year was a very good year. In fact, just like my fellow service provider, Dan, mentioned, offshore asset class gave us one of the best returns when you compare it to other asset classes, and that, of course, had a very positive impact in terms of our returns. Just move to the next slide. And then coming to the domestic markets last year, the economy expanded by 5.6%, better than the previous year. And this was mainly supported by favorable weather conditions and a rebound in agricultural sector. So that was positive in terms of even our investment outlook. Then when we look at the macroeconomic indicators very quickly, starting with inflation. So inflationary pressures remained elevated above the upper CBK target of 7.5%. So the overall headline inflation averaged about 7.7%. And what then this means is that interest rates remain elevated, and you'll see the impact this has had in terms of interest rates, which has actually been talked about. So just move to the next slide. So currency was our main thorn, and Dan articulated that very well. And where we are today, the shilling depreciated against all the major currencies that we follow. And of course, this being the main thorn, it had a negative impact in our equity portfolio, or rather the stock market, because for foreigners who have invested in our markets, when the currency, of course, continues to depreciate, they are deep in losses. So we saw a very huge selling momentum by foreigners, which of course led to further declines on our equity market. The NASI gave us more than 25% decline in terms of valuations. So you'll see that also reflected in your numbers. Then when you look at interest rates, again, because of the huge depreciation in currency, and of course, also mentioning the investor sentiment at the time, interest rate levels remained quite elevated. In fact, we ended the year higher. There are two things here, perhaps just to mention. When interest rates are going up, it is good for the new money, the new contributions that are coming in, which we were able to invest at levels of 16% and above. But for, like now, when you consider the bond portfolio, if you're holding a bond, at the beginning of the year, you bought it at 12%. That same bond has gone up to, let's say, levels of 18%. if you are to sell that bond at that particular time, it will be at a loss. So that should explain the kind of returns that we are going to see in our scheme when you look at the asset class returns. So very important to really know the movements there. It has an inverse relationship. Then when you look at, just move to the next slide. So this being the last bit in terms of the macroeconomic overview, I'll just like to emphasize that the foreign net selling position last year really contributed. And of course that emanating from currency depreciation really contributed to the negative price declines that we were seeing in the market. And of course it had a very huge impact because you have a good allocation to equity market. Now I'll move straight into our portfolio, and I will start with the asset allocation. And perhaps just to mention that we ensure that, and even when you look at the RBA guidelines and the investment policy statement, we ensure that we diversify as much as possible. That is what we mean by asset allocation, to really allocate capital to various asset classes to minimize the risk or volatility that we get in a portfolio. So if you look at the 2022 numbers and 2023 numbers as highlighted by the chairman, we really moved a higher allocation into the alternative asset class, that is the REITs, and we also had a higher allocation to offshore to take advantage of the currency movement that we were getting. Remember, if you invested in dollar-denominated assets last year, you are in the money because the shilling continued to depreciate, and those are the kind of things we really took advantage of last year. You can see from the movements in terms of those allocations, and that also ensures we maximize on returns as well. So the fund was at 10.9 billion as at the end of the year. We can move to the next. So in terms of the declared returns, the return was at 4% for the DC scheme. And of course, compared to the industry, which was at an average of 1.2%, it was quite decent. And of course, all this is informed by what I've just said. And the biggest impact, I think, in terms of the negative valuations was from the bonds asset class, where we have a huge allocation, and we saw interest rates really rising throughout the year. Just move to the next. Then I will go to the income drawdown, which has had a tremendous growth. In less than 2 years, we've seen this fund grow to around 300 million. And in fact, actually seeing, I think when the TS and the team were projecting the returns, they were quite surprised to see the returns actually came out above what their projections were at 13.78%. Quite good timing in terms of when it was actually launched. And that is why you're seeing the returns are quite high, because it has largely been invested in high-yielding assets. Just move to the next. So those are the declared returns. I think that has been mentioned already, and that I'll move to the outlook for this year. And you can agree with me, there has been a lot of volatility this year, perhaps political risk and such, but perhaps also moving in the right direction in terms of investment sentiment, starting with the currency movement in the first quarter. We've seen that really helping us, the stability in the relative stability in the currency. That has brought some normalcy to some extent, but interest rates still remain elevated because of government borrowing pressure. So fiscal pressure, I think this year would remain the key risk, and that is if KRA misses on their target revenue collection. The other highlight perhaps to just mention in terms of the outlook this year, given that we are seeing relative stability in the macroeconomic environment, especially starting from the currency and the inflows that we are getting a lot of support from the World Bank and IMF. That has really, really helped us in terms of reserves. We've seen, we just want to see, and given that inflationary pressures have come off, we are currently at about 5.1%. We would like interest rates to also come down to see the double-digit returns that we are really looking forward to. The equity market has been decent, giving us returns in excess of 20% on a year-to-date basis. Just go to the next. Right, so looking at the markets, our returns so far, That is as at May, the end of May. You can agree with me. It's a better year compared to last year. Our overall return was at around 11% if you were to round it off. And perhaps the only issue there, or rather the only asset class in the negative territory, is the offshore asset class. But I would like to also mention that it remains one of the asset classes that is really has really positive prospects because of technology shares globally that are doing so well. And most of our investments are in technology sector. So that is likely to turn around. That has been because of the appreciation of the currency on a year-to-date basis. But in terms of the capital gains that we are getting from the offshore markets, it's been positive and quite decent. And we believe offshore markets will still give us good returns this year. And then you can see, of course, the equity market that I talked about. Our total return for the scheme is at 35%, quite decent compared to where we have been in the last 2 years. Then when you look at the income drawdown, so that is how it looks so far. And you can see the overall return is at 8.5% so far, again, moving towards the double-digit numbers. Thank you so much. And I'll be able to take your questions in the Q&A section. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Esther. Now we'll call another Esther. Now this is the auditor. Kindly, is it? Custodian, sorry, Eve. Yeah.
Good afternoon, members, once again. I'll be giving a confirmation for the DC scheme, and as guided by the chair, will not go through what I had presented earlier. However, for the slide on our role, I wanted to point out on contributions. This being a DC scheme, I want to confirm to you members that your sponsor does remit your contributions on a timely basis every single month. And I say this because there are schemes out there that don't remit contributions, so you should commend them for that. Going to the breakdown of the assets that we're holding as of December, the bulk of your investments were sitting in treasury bonds at 6.2 billion, followed by property and quoted equities. The rest are listed there. You had some demand deposits, some cash, corporate bonds, offshore investments, regional equities, as well as unquoted equities and some private equities, giving a total fund value of 10.6 billion shillings. Going to the income drawdown fund, this fund is sitting in fixed income assets only, with assets sitting in demand deposits at 13.2 million. You had a small cash balance of 472,000, term deposits at 27.6 million, treasury bonds at 298 million shillings, closing with a fund value of 339 million, 487,000. In terms of risk mitigation, I won't go over this again. We do employ the same for this fund, and we ensure that those assets are secure and well managed. So, but finally, I'd like to confirm to the members of the DC scheme that the income earned for this particular fund was also collected on time. All your investments were also executed within the laid down regulations. All the investments were executed per your fund manager's instructions, and that your investments are also safe with us. Thank you for listening to me. I hand the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Eva. Now I call Eunice Moura to take us through from Deloitte and Touch to tell us whether we are doing well. Maybe just come. You can just give us your opinion.
Thank you, Chair. So my name is Eunice Moura. I'm representing Deloitte as the auditors of the DC scheme. So the audit report is on page 67 of the booklet. So we have audited the accompanying financial statements of KenGen Defined Contribution Scheme, the DC scheme, set out on pages 69 to 91, which comprise the statement of net assets available for benefits as of 31st December 2023, and the statement of changes in net assets available for benefits and statements of cash flows for the year then ended, including material accounting policy information. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of KenGen Defined Contribution Scheme as at 31st December 2023, and the changes in net assets available for benefits and of its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards and the requirements of the Kenyan Retirement Benefits Act. So the financial statements were signed by the audit partner, Fred Allo, on 28th March 2024. Thank you very much.
Tumpigie makofi tena Esther tafadhali. On the annual report and financial statement, members, that is for the year ended 31st December, kindly let's take it as read. It is in your report. I will go to the minimum agenda items that I'm obliged to read the main share. I now wish to take you through the following agenda items as stipulated in the RBA Act. During the year, the meeting held for the full board and committee are as follows. For the full board, we had 6 meetings. Admin and communication committee, we had 5. Audit and risk, we had 5. And lastly, investment and strategy committee, we had 6. The trustees' remuneration is disclosed in the financial report on page 89. Currently, just like DB, the scheme pays a sitting allowance of 28K to the board chair and 24,500 to board members, all net of taxes. Trustees' remuneration will not be reviewed as the scheme continues to work on upholding the prescribed administration costs as per the scheme's strategic objective. And also, you were told about the new guidelines that we are working on, that we have to adhere to as per the directive from RBA. Additionally, I would also like to confirm that there were no changes in the benefit structure and contribution rates in the year under review. Now, with this, this brings us now to almost our tail end of this particular AGM. And this is the Q&A session, question and answer session. As just like the way we did with DB, there will be physical questions. And as you do it, please, those will be putting across forward questions. Just state your full names and where the station that you come from. We also have the chat module that we've received numerous questions. Some have been answered, but the TS will respond to them. So in the interest of time, can we say from this side, on my right, anybody? Hakuna. On the left, anybody? Hakuna. Thank you. Mujipigie makofi. Now, yeah. There is a question.
Yes.
Oh, yes, please, sorry. I should not be seen as if I'm going. Please, brother, auko ya. Yes, useme jina and others, please. Kama niliharakisha, that's not our business.
Asante sana.
Okay. Yeah.
Jina langu ni Charles Kai, mtaani wananiita Mlachake. Niko na maswali mawili. Swali la kwanza, kuna contributions ambazo zinafanywa yangu na ya mwajiri. Kwa mfano, kampuni nikiwacha kazi ama nikifutwa, nitapewa ile yangu li contribute. Ya kampuni inabaki mpaka nifikishe miaka ile ya kuretire. Kampuni ikifunga ama ikifilisika, natakana nianze wapi? Kwa sababu niko nje. Swali la pili, hili ni la kibinafsi. Niliweza kutransfer pesa mahali nilikuwa nafanya zamani kabla niingie KenGen. Na mpaka leo sijajua ile pesa iko wapi. Kwa sababu naletewa statement nafikiri ni Zamara, lakini ile pesa sijawahi iona. Nimeandika barua pepe kwa bwana Muriuki, nafikiri anajua, mpaka nikafika mahali nikawachia Mungu. Sasa sijui nifanye nini, sijui pesa yangu iko ama ilienda wapi. Asante.
Asante. Another question, please. Ndio responded. Atuoni kama KenGen itaenda under hivi karibuni.
Habari zenyu.
Asante.
Salama. My name is Isaac Nzainga. During the recent elections for trustee, I think Masio aliweza kupata ushindi, and congratulations again. And to the TS and the team, thank you for having a very a free and fair kind of election. Actually, I saw from the poll, walisema were very effective, and I can attest to that. Now, quickly, I'll just go straight to the question, and I'll pose it to the fund manager. Just seeing the figures there, I saw from the offshore, projections of the performance, it was a -10, and that is worrying to us as members. Maybe you could kindly elaborate on probably the measures that, though you're saying that it would actually probably, in the course of the year, it would actually increase, but we just want to hear from your end how this is going to be undertaken, and should we also reallocate some more funds to equity? We saw the last year's, performance was a bit low. This year is a bit high. I don't know, is there any reallocation of, investment options? Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. I thought you were wrongly seated. I thought initially you were a service provider. But thank you. That is a service provider, somebody who is informed also. Asante sana Yeswali. I think let's respond to those TS. Tutaanza na huyo ndugu mwenye anasema ajui pesa yake mali iko, please. I think he needs an answer.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
For Charles, he's transferred some of his benefits a while back. Unfortunately, during the transfer, the benefits were transferred to the DB fund. We've been speaking with an actuary to see how best we can be able to put the benefit to the right fund. Because in the DB fund, they're just helping the sponsor to fund. So there's an issue that we'll be able to rectify soonest.
So he's aware?
Yes, we have been convinced.
You are aware of that? Hauna habari? Okay, after this, kuja tu. Hakuna mahali pesa yako itaenda.
Okay. On the next question, if he was to leave KenGen at a certain time. So under the current regulations, the member access 50% of the total accrued benefits. So it's no longer the previous time where you would access 50% of the employer and 100% of the employee. So it's the total. So if the total benefit is 2 million, you access 1 million. Then the rest is deferred in the fund. The scheme is a separate legal entity from the KenGen. So even if we know it's not happening, but even if KenGen was to go down, the scheme will continue being a live scheme, and your benefits are well protected within the trust deed and rules. So that's still your money, KenGen being there or not. The question, Chair, there's a question from Isaac. I think I will throw it to the fund managers. Then we can, if you allow, I can lead another question to the fund managers too.
Yeah, continue.
Thank you, Chair.
The ones on the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think John has not spoken, so I can allow him to speak. There's a question from Dr. Abdi Loba, and I'll read as it is. This was one of the people who vied for trustee during the trustee election. Do you have any foreign denominated asset classes? And what are the hedging factor given the continued sharing resilience of the sharing against the greenback? That's one. The next question on the chat module, and I want to read as it is. Just 1 minute. This is a member concerned about the elections, and the member is asking, from the presentation from the fund managers, it seems there was a lot of misinformation during the campaign. So what is the Board of Trustees doing to ensure that members are not misled during the election campaign? Chair, I think you can handle that as John handled the other time, the investment. I
think it's even good that member has mentioned. With the due respect to members, you task us to represent you. Some of us go through election process. Some have the total trust of the sponsor for them to be nominated, like our chairman of DB, Dr. Wanyoike. We are responsible citizens. We are responsible trustees. we don't gang you when you are doing elections. Please, campaign, look for votes in any way you want, but respect us also. Stop misleading, stop cheating the members. A lot of rumors were peddled. Uongo, the scheme has gone under, pesa imekuliwa. I think that is not right. Sindio? It is not right at all. Tafuta kura, but in the right way. We are even thinking of coming up with a code of conduct, so that even as you campaign and you say pesa imekuliwa, you must demonstrate and give evidence. We have a very active RBA. RBA is internationally recognized. Many countries come to Kenya to see how RBA is working. Many pension schemes in this country and in East Africa come to Kenya Power and KenGen scheme to benchmark how we are working. So, and I think our tradition all along has always been, let's do it right. We were not happy with the way the direction the campaign took, the name calling, falsehoods and all that. I'm urging you going forward, elections will come, but let us also be very objective when you are seeking for votes and not start calling people names. I think that is what I wanted to really put across in this AGM. Thank you. Kiara?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members, all protocols observed. So I'll handle the question from Dr. Abdi. Dr. Abdi has asked about the foreign denominated assets and what you're doing about it. I think it also relates to the question from the member around the return that we saw from offshore holdings for the year 2024. So I'll say it. So the answer is this. We have assets that are foreign denominated. By that I mean assets whose investments are in currencies such as the dollar. And those assets are the offshore investments that we have. By that, we have investment in some of the most advanced markets, such as the US, such as Europe. And the reason why we obviously do that is because we want to diversify the fund. Si tulisema tusiweke mayai yote kwa kikapu moja. Si ndio? I mean, all of us who are here, I mean, we have seen the events of the last few days, isn't it? And things can really go south very fast. So one of the reasons we try to keep something else, or some of the part of the assets out of the country, is to make sure that when things are not as good in the country, we can also be able to tap into those kind of returns. So we have investment in those markets. Last year, as my colleague Esther said, that is actually part of the reason why we were able to generate a positive return. Why? Because the currency lost about, the Kenya shilling lost about 28%. And since those investments are in dollars, we were able to benefit. Now this year, it has changed a bit. So the shilling, for example, has strengthened from 168 to currently exchanging to the dollar at 128. But as Esther said, the underlying investment in those markets that we have invested in is still very strong. In fact, it is positive. Those who follow international markets know that, for example, the US market is up about 15%. So what has really hurt us is the fact that the Kenya shilling has strengthened. And therefore, when you do the translation, it looks like that investment is sitting at a lower value. Now, from where we sit, as very good citizens, obviously who hope that the Kenya shilling still remains resilient, the reality of the matter is that there's a very strong conviction that the Kenya shilling will continue to weaken, right? I think even from what has happened right now with the finance bill, unless we drastically are able to cut our expenditure, we would need to go out there and borrow more. By borrowing more, it means that we need to load more foreign denominated debt at the country level. And since, of course, we're not exporting as much or increasing that, then definitely the Kenya shilling will continue to weaken. So over time, we do expect that these losses that we have because of the Kenya shilling strengthening will obviously move to the other side, just like we saw in the last year. Okay. And also, if you're to look at it from the last 10 years, the Kenya shilling has continuously continued to weaken, which we expect, and that is a positive for the foreign investment that we have. Finally, in terms of reallocation of what we are doing, I think also just in summary, for us as investment managers, one of the key things we try to do is to diversify. So, for example, as the chair mentioned, we have tried to increase into other areas that we didn't have. For example, real estate investment trust, which are basically indirect investment in property. For example, things like student housing is a big thing. So the real estate investment trust that currently has is trying to tap into, for example, student housing. This year, government has also been paying high interest rates on their securities. So you'll see when we come for the AGM, we have significantly increased the investment in government securities. And then, of course, taking advantage again of the strong shilling to also increase in terms of the offshore investments that we have. Thank you, and back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Tumpigie makofi, John. Now, we need a proposer and a seconder to adopt the chairman's report, kindly. Kuna chairman hapa na mwenzangu wawili.
Yes, my name is Joseph Gatia.
Yeah.
I concur with the statement and I propose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Shaki Loko. I second.
Thank you. Thank you. And you are not doing it as Ketau. Thank you. They are doing it as members of DC scheme. Now, just to reiterate what John said, the Gen Z, what happened? I think it's good we share with you that happened. Maybe a majority of you are happy, are not happy. But for the purpose of you as, especially the pensioners, there were good things in the finance bill that will have directly impacted on the pensioners and even those who are retiring. And it's good to share that. That was the pay as you earn. The tax, currently you start enjoying exemption from tax ukifika 65. So this finance bill ilikuwa imeleta mpaka 60. That means Odongo ule alienda sasa kama alikuwa analipa tax. Hii finance bill ingeenda through, angelipa tax. This same finance bill ilikuwa pia imetupatia some latitude that you can contribute or up to 30,000 without paying tax. Currently it's 20, so waliongeza from 20 to 30. This same finance bill also had allowed those who are on contributing to post-retirement medical fund not to pay tax. As from currently is any amount below 10,000 you are not taxed. So waliongeza kidogo up to 15,000. So we are hoping mambo ikienda mzuri hii itarudishwa. But having said all that, John has also said there are effects, there are positive and negatives when these things happen. Like now the market, the stock exchange, it was doing very well. But because of that statement of Safaricom CEO Ndegwa about sijui ni kebo gani iliharibika, ndio kulikuwa na communication ilienda chini, ilifanya hata the stock ya Safaricom ilikuwa imefika 19 shillings. I think, John, it came to 16, and that affected really the market. But having said that, I think generally my advice as your chair and one of you is as we move forward, maybe this country will never be the same again, because now it's coming out clearly. Those guys who are carrying money, there has been a build-up in this country, and people are saying now, enough is enough. Sini ukweli, let our leaders be held accountable. But let's pray we continue this, doesn't degenerate into a situation that is uncontrollable. Let us hope we are going to have a structured engagement where we are going to hold our leaders accountable. Thank you. Now, I don't deserve a clap even. As we conclude the AGM, I want to say asante sana to the main organizers of this AGM, the secretariat staff, to our members, you, and those who are watching from locations outside, all over the country, and even outside the country, our CEO, and those present here, your participation made this AGM possible. We are here because of you. Thank you to the Geothermal region for your hospitality. We truly appreciate. Finally, I want to express my deep appreciation to my fellow board members for your invaluable support. Thank you so much. There being no other business of which due notice had been given, may I take this opportunity to thank you once again for attending this AGM and wishing you a restful weekend and a happy birthday. I now declare the meeting officially closed, and I invite Ndugu Mohamed Alake to lead us in closing prayers, and thereafter you may leave at your own pleasure. Asantini na Mungu awabariki.
And in that, as we close the both DC and DB, as I call Madam Maria to pull a vote of thanks, I want us to hold the two booklets. Vote of thanks, yes, Maria. Before I call Maria. Hold that book. There are two. Sindio? There were two, Moja moja, I want us to do this because this is our you're holding. Good. Hold with your neighbor. Shikilia, yani, this is our DC and DB, right? Like me, I'll do this with my co-MC. I want to exchange as a sign of togetherness and as a sign of the two parties, the two DC and DB trustees having made KenGen SRBS where it is. Exchange and mwambie na umsalimi mwambie asante sana kwa kuja katika mkutano huu. Exchange. Make sure you've exchanged. Where is the photographer? One year to pick the picture. Exchange. Hapana beba, wachana na notes. Notes will send. Anyway, on a lighter note, kama umekuwa na notes mingi, utapeana Madam Maria. Before Madam comes, just come in. Na musitoke kuna lunch. I'll give the instructions about the lunch. Let Madam Maria give a vote of thanks. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Bernard, and good afternoon, everyone. Many thank yous for today's event. I think it has been a very fruitful and enlightening engagement. So our thanks go to God Almighty, first and foremost, for allowing us to meet here today, and for granting us life, even for blessing our scheme for the whole year that we have had. We also want to thank the Board of Trustees for both the DC and the DB schemes. Thank you very much for diligent service. Tunashukuru sana on behalf of the members. We are very grateful. We also want to thank the GMGD through the assistant manager, manager drilling and logistics, who is also our acting general manager. Asante sana. Tunashukuru umetupatia nafasi. Our thanks also go to the organizing committee, both the trustee secretary's team and the team that has been in Olkaria. You have worked tirelessly to make this event even possible, through the assistant manager in the GM's office, Dr. Musonye, and your team. Asante sana. Tunashukuru. Industry partners and service providers, asante sana. We have had a fantastic day, and we truly are grateful for all the work that you have done. Our senior citizens who have gotten time to come and be with us, and even those that are joining us online, asante sana, tunashukuru. Fellow colleagues and employees from all around the company, thank you so much. From us in Geothermal, we say thank you for giving us the privilege to host this year's AGM. We are truly grateful that you have chosen to come to Geothermal, and we hope that this will be the first of many other engagements. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
A big hand for Madam Maria. Asante sana, huyu ndio mama yetu. Mama wa Olkaria. Sasa, we are actually closing up. And I want to give some instructions before the word of prayer by Jamal is around, or Halake. If not so, then I'll choose one of our mothers who is a pensioner. She's gone out. They know everything. She will pray. Utatubariki mama. Kwa sababu wewe ni mama yetu. The oldest pensioner ako wapi mama? Tutakuchagua wewe. Nimekuchagua kuja hapa. Tunakupatia hiyo heshima. Ubariki sisi ambaye ni watoto wako. Sababu wewe umeshatoka. Utubariki na utubarikie chakula unapofunga kwa maombi. Karibu sana. Ningeomba tusimame sababu anapoenda kutupeleka kutubariki na pia kuombea chakula. Kabla hajasema hiyo ningetaka kusema kuna meal cards ambazo zitachukuliwa pale nje. Wewe ukichukua meal card utaenda upate sahani yako ya chakula na kinywaji. Baada ya kula usiondoke, kuna giveaways kwa wale wote ambao wameregister, watapewa giveaways. Please don't leave without it. Board of trustees watabaki hapa. Na ningetaka pia acting manager abaki na wao pamoja sababu nyumba ni kubwa. Assistant managers na managers tafadhali ningewaomba tukae pamoja, wasile peke yao, tule pamoja na wao. The rest of us, kila mwingine, and the 3 principal union members, that's the chairman, the treasurer, tafadhali ningeomba pia tukae tukule pamoja because we are one house. The rest of us will go out and pick a meal card and go and take a meal. After that tutaondoka turudi. Tutaondoka at our own pleasure. Thank you and God bless you mama. Tafadhali tubariki.
Amini na tuombe. Tunakushukuru Mungu wetu, tunainua jina lako na tunalisifu jina lako Mungu wetu. Ni kwa sababu hakuna Mungu mwingine aliye kama wewe na hata hakuna wa kufananishwa naye Mungu wetu. Ni asante ni kwa sababu ya siku ya leo Mungu wetu. Tumeona Baba wa mbinguni vile umetenda makubwa, tumefuzwa mambo mingi Mungu wetu, pahali tumeweka pesa zetu Jehova. Tunashukuru kwa sababu ya all the retirees Mungu wetu, umetupatia afya nzuri, hakuna mtu ako na shida ya mwili Mungu wetu, hata tunaonekana kweli umetuonekania Mungu wetu, ni kwa sababu umekuwa Ebeneza. Ni asante, twainua jina lako na twakulisifu Mungu wetu. Hata wale hawajaenda retire Mungu wetu, tunawaweka mbele zako Mungu wetu, wafika miaka yao ya kwenda retire 60 years, na Baba wa mbinguni utawaongoza. Jehova Mungu wa Israeli, tunakushukuru ni kwa sababu kuna kitu tuchakula tutakula. Baba wa mbinguni twaibarikisha mkononi mwako. Wote wataondoka tuwaombea Janemasses, na wale watabaki hata Baba wa mbinguni tunaombea amani yako katika jina Yesu Kristo kuomba na kuamini.